friends, it's Dominique, the Nourishing Mystic, and this morning I was reflecting on all of my goals for 2022 and making a list of all the areas that I need to check in on myself and make sure that I'm making progress on. And the list went something like, okay, I want to grow my spiritual practice, continue deepening my knowledge of tarot and astrology. I want to grow my knowledge of herbalism and my experience gardening, and I want to improve on my art skills. And of course, I want to grow my YouTube channel and progress further into my career as a project manager and, grow my relationships. And the list kind of went on like that. Everything was grow, 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 progress, progress, progress. And I took a moment to recognize that this is a part of the conditioning of our society. That right now, our society places this extreme emphasis and value on growth, and it's so pervasive that oftentimes we don't take a moment to even recognize it. Like right now, our entire economic system is based on growth is good and constant growth is a necessity. And if we're not constantly growing, that means we're doing bad. There's something wrong, we're not doing enough, and on a personal level, there's a bit of shame that comes in with that. If we're not constantly growing in at least one area of our life, like some areas got to be growing all the time. And if we're not growing and progressing and doing better, that means we're somehow lazy or not good enough or just not being productive enough. And really, I think this is a fallacy. And I think this is something that we need to decondition from our minds and from our society, from the way we think about ourselves to the way we think about business and even the economy, to recognize that growth is never constant and should never be forced to be constant. Like that is completely in opposition to the way the world works, the laws of nature, the way our universe functions. It's clearly obvious just by looking outside and seeing the seasons and seeing, the way that the plants essentially grow from a seed, blossom, and spread their seeds, and then they die. They aren't constantly blossoming and flowering all the time. And we can see this even from the economic sense of constant growth, because in trying to achieve it, we are completely depleting the Earth's resources because we are growing beyond our means and beyond the Earth's means of sustaining us. And we're starting to see the environmental impacts of our quest for constant growth. And even in ourselves, we see a mental health crisis and a burnout crisis from almost everyone that I know right now that's on the seeking constant growth. I've got to constantly work harder and progress in my career, and if I don't, I'm a failure, and that leads to people experiencing extreme anxiety and depression, and it's not a good time when we're just on this constant quest for unachievable growth. It's like, again, there's no problem with growth and progress and wanting more things in life and wanting to do better in life, but we need to have a balance there to recognize that there is value in the pause. There is value in the rest period. There is value in the period that we might seasonally think of as fall and winter, the period where the plants go dormant, when the plants die off, that there is a value there. I even think of the fear that we have around Mercury retrograde, again, kind of getting in the way of our constant progress and our communications. And, it stops us because it forces us to reflect. It's a good time to pause. And in our society, we just have this aversion to the pause, to the taking that time to not grow, to not have to do anything, to not chase the to-do list, to say, hey, let's put a break on the growth and the constant striving, give ourselves a break, give the natural world a break, and just breathe for a minute. Say, okay, I have all of these goals, but burning myself out is not the way to achieve them. I cannot grow as a spiritual practitioner. I cannot grow as an artist by forcing myself and pressuring myself to produce things every single day. The growth that I want, or you could say the achievement and the goal that I want, and as far as being a better artist, that comes through the rest. So we find that just as our bodies heal and recharge ourselves through sleep, that applies to our times of rest as well. That this isn't just a meaningless waste of time, for us to sleep. Our body is actively healing while we do it. So even though this can be seen as non-productive time, it is still extremely valuable time. Just as the winter is valuable for the soil to be able to rest and replenish itself and prepare for the upcoming season, so it can grow more when it's time to grow. So we see that there is an importance and a value to rest. We see that a rest gives us time to reflect on ourselves. Maybe we decide that we need to redefine our goals or look at different areas of our life in a new way. Maybe we use the rest simply to acknowledge all of the growth that we've had in the past. So I, as a type A personality, I tend to want to jump to the next thing, and I never give myself that moment to pat myself on the back and say, look how far I've come. Immediately it's like I start a YouTube channel, and now it's, how do I grow it? How do I keep it going? How do I expand the reach of this channel? But actually, I want to pause and say, hey, well, good on me for even starting it. Look how far I've already come. Look at all the videos I've already produced. The other day I saw that I hit 100 subscribers, and that was an amazing achievement. And sometimes instead of acknowledging those achievements, I'm just like, okay, let's go to the next thing. But no, if you're like me, I just want to encourage you to take a moment and give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a pat on the back for still being here, for being alive. Even if all you did was survive another day, pat yourself on the back. Life is hard, and we don't need to make it harder on ourselves by constantly having to strive and grow and make sure that we're growing in all of our areas. And give yourself a break. Give yourself some time to acknowledge what you have achieved, how far you have come, to acknowledge that you're surviving in an extremely difficult time for humanity, and know that you are worthy of that break. Know that you are worthy of a time to rest. Know that you're worthy to give yourself a pause. And if you come by days or even months where you're like, man, I feel so bad because I haven't created art, I feel so bad because I haven't done my New Year's resolutions. Just tell yourself that it's okay. Right now, you're in the rest period. It's okay to not do all of those things that you told yourself, oh, I'm going to do all of these things. I'm going to read all of these books, or whatever your goal is. We always write our goals as if I'm going to constantly grow. Every day I'm going to do this thing. Every day I must achieve this. By the end of the month, I must achieve this. I must walk 10,000 steps or whatever it is. And then we don't do that because this is not realistic. And then we beat ourselves up and shame ourselves and guilt ourselves. Oh, I'm such a bad person because I didn't do this. No. You're worthy of a break. You're worthy of a pause. You're worthy to not have to grow your career constantly. You're worthy of having some time to just veg out on the couch. Like, it's okay. You deserve that rest period. You deserve that pause. And you deserve time to acknowledge everything that you have done, everything that you have survived, everything that you have triumphed. You're worthy of giving yourself a hug, giving yourself a pat on the back and saying, it's okay. It's okay. And when we give ourselves that pause, we actually recharge, re-energize ourselves, refresh our energy, and that gives us energy and space when we're ready to do the next thing that calls to us, right? We give ourselves the pause, and that actually fertilizes the new growth. So we start to allow ourselves to be in that cycle of saying, I accept the pause, I give myself the pause, now I fertilize and I give myself the growth. And then again, I give myself the pause. I acknowledge the growth that happened. I give myself the pat on the back. And we let that cycle continue. And we flow with that cycle. And we let that cycle manifest in the way that supports us most, without any, shame or guilt. Just love and acceptance. So hopefully that inspires you. If you've been struggling the way that I very often struggle, if you needed that reminder, hopefully it helps you. And if you could, please leave a comment in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video, and or even just leave a heart emoji just to let me know that you watched it. I look at all of my comments and I really appreciate your feedback and I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Blessed be.